Good morning, everybody. Hey, this is Macky, and we're here with another episode of the Hidden Threads podcast. And there's my man, the myth, the legend, Anthony Juice Majuziak. Let's hear it.
Woo! Moaning.
Anything good this weekend, Juice?
No, absolutely not.
All right. You told me you got a notification from AT&T about some kind of update from our company phones.
What's going on? Because I know part of the story from last week.
All right. So I got my phone I had one of those big Galaxy S24. Plus I had the big battery. I've had it for about 14 months, which is 2 months over warranty.
Of course.
Okay. That thing's been having battery issues for 2 months. The battery will last. Some days it'll last all day if it's not plugged in. Some days it'll last about 10 minutes. So I said, hey, it's time to go change this thing in with AT&T. That's our company who provides our company phones for us, right? So I go in, and they're like, yeah, you're out of warranty. And I said, well, I've got insurance on this thing. And they said, guess what? Out of the 6 phones your company has, this is the only one without insurance.
Oh, nice.
So they hooked me up, Juice.
Yeah,
all
okay.
Right. I got a question for AT&T. We got any AT&T folks out there? If you do, you can comment, please. Why going into the AT&T store is it worse than going into buy a new Ford?
Wow.
I mean, you go in, they make you sit over here in the corner for a long time while they chit-chat with other customers about their children and golf games and stuff. And then you finally get there, and it takes them forever. I'm talking like 15 minutes to log into your account. And then you get to tell them what you got going on finally. Then just to get a new phone, I had to pay like $80 to do an early upgrade. Not a big deal, right? Because I needed a phone. And they, it took them a while. I mean, I was in there for about 2.5 hours.
Did you get the insurance with it?
This time I did.
Okay.
All right, it's all set. But we had some issues with the phones this weekend. But I did get a phone. I got the phone. Look at this thing.
I was privy to part of it.
I got one of those.
It was frustrating.
Flippy things.
Oh, you got one of them new fancy dangle things.
I don't know. I like it. It's because it's small in my pocket. That's why I like it.
Did that screen fold up?
It did.
Whoa.
See how small it goes in your pocket?
Nice.
I don't have this big honking thing in my pocket anymore. And
That's
I can
amazing.
see stuff on the front screen.
It looks like a compact.
Well, I need that for my face.
I know.
Okay, Juice. Well, starting out today, we got an interesting topic. 2 of them, actually. We're going to start out with urban, and then we're going to go to rural. But let's start out today with urban tracking. We do that on a daily basis pretty much, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Some people think of Mantracking as you're out looking at footprints, you're out looking at broken sticks, those kind of things. It is some of that in there, all right?
Right.
Urban tracking, though, is a little different. Yeah, we're still looking at footprints. You're looking for a direction where they started. Some people call it a point of origin. Some people call it last known point. Some people call it last area seen. Okay, what have you heard it called before?
All of the above.
I call it point of origin. I just POI is easy for me.
Right.
I don't know. But you're wherever they're last seen. So urban case, you're typically starting with a car or a house, some kind of structure, man-made structure, where they were last seen, right? And we try to get a direction. We do that with footprints. It can be footprints if they left on foot, okay? Oftentimes they leave in a car, though. Does that make it harder?
A little bit.
Okay. And now we got cell phones that help us a little bit. But often with the teenagers we deal with, their cell phones are left at home because of 99% of the time they're fighting over because they got their phone taken from them. That's why they left.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sip a coffee juice. You tell us what you think.
Yeah. It could be anything though. Your footprint, it could be obtained from a security camera from one of the buildings adjacent to the scene or wherever you last seen them. It could be something as simple as that.
Yep. We had one where a young teenage girl got mad at her parents and took off, and I couldn't see. She went on foot. Now, I think somebody pulled up, and we found out that's what happened. Somebody pulled up to the road, and they lived a good ways off the road.
Right.
And she walked through the woods to get to the road, not up the driveway. But we found the neighbor's security camera showing her loading up. So that's our point of origin, right?
Right.
Yeah, point of origin, or your last known scene point. Okay, you can call it a variety of things. Put them in the comments. All you expert man trackers out there, tell me what I'm missing here on my terminology. But that's just what I call it. If I'm teaching a class, we're going to call it point of origin. All right, you don't know what I'm talking about if I say that, Juice?
Absolutely.
All right. Anyways, we found her on the camera and determined that she got into a car. Now we had to find that car later and get a new point of origin. That thing can move, your point of origin. So as
Absolutely.
they move, last known seen point can move. All right, point last known seen. We need to come up with a word here, Juice. What can I use to be consistent?
Yeah, we'll get back to you on that one.
Okay, you're good with what I'm saying now then, right?
Right, yeah.
This point can move. The last known seen point can move several times throughout your tracking. And it comes to a point where you're in an urban environment using everything. You're using footprints, using marks. You can use video cameras. You can use witness testimony. We get that a lot. We go around and knock door to door. You might hear it called a canvas and say, hey, when's the last time you seen this? We got a picture of the person on our phones or printed out saying, hey, when's the last time you seen this person? And they help you out a lot.
Yeah.
This particular girl was hanging out with doing drugs and actually pulled up in the apartment complex. I'm going to say it's the hood, okay, where known drugs are being sold.
Say it isn't so.
And they would not come to the door. I look very cop-like, even in my dress-down attire.
You look more cop-like than I do.
I got a big old head with a square jaw and all that stuff and look serious, right?
Right.
But I'm the least serious person you'll probably run across.
Probably, yeah.
But I started going door to door and nobody would say anything. So I just parked my little sedan in the middle of the parking lot. I think we talked about this once before.
Yeah. I remember this.
And just sat there, started scrolling my phone. After about an hour, one of the drug dealers came up and said, hey, man, what can we help you with? Because you're killing business. I said, yeah, I'm not a cop. I don't care if you're selling dope here. I just want to know where this girl went. And he said, hey, this car came up and got her last night, gave me the tag number, all kind of information.
Yeah, so imagine that.
The next morning, we got the girl back based off of that. But that's urban tracking. I mean, you like to see the dual survival with the dudes out in the woods and the barefoot Indian. That's part of it. We're going to get into that in the second part. But urban tracking, you're using everything because there's not a lot of sign. What I mean by sign is disturbances on the ground, footprints, broken sticks, campsites where they use the bathroom last. You're not seeing a lot of that in the urban environment.
No. We had a girl missing here when I was working.
Which one?
I'm not going to say her name because she's still in the area, but her and her parents decided to have a little spat.
Right.
And she took off. She was gone for 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
2 weeks. We did everything to find that kid. Even got out the FLIR system from the fire department.
The FLIR?
Track her through a field.
Right. You can use FLIR to track them through a field. Now, here's the issue. You got to be prepared to go from urban to rural, back to urban.
Yeah,
especially here. I've seen instances where we've used the FLIR from the fire department. You get these cameras. You can spend as much as you want or as little as you want on these cameras. But the more you go up in price, the more intense and clear the picture is. I've seen some good ones. When I was a volunteer fireman, we had a couple looking for hot spots. Now, you can also use them to see tracks where their heat's transferred to the ground. You see, you're not really seeing behind walls, but you can see heat signatures through windows, those kind of things. Windows tend to play with them a little bit, mess with them a little bit. But if there's a hot enough signature behind a wall, you can
if there's a body there, you're going to get it.
Yep. And where they hung out last. Now, if they've talked people into not wanting to be found, it makes it more difficult. The girl I was talking about, her parents, her birth mother and her birth mother's new boyfriend, actually had her hidden in a shed. And I had to stop and do surveillance and watch her go from the shed to the house, probably to go to the bathroom and get some food. Yeah. That's how we found her. I knew they were lying to me as soon as I walked in that house.
Yeah, their lips were moving.
They let me walk all through the house, look in closets and stuff, and they're just very chatty. They were over talking.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, I didn't say it to them, but I said, you guys are lying. That's super nice. They even gave me a cup of coffee. I drank it.
That was nice of them.
I drink it. I'll drink a liar's coffee.
Right.
I've lied before, so we have meetings on Fridays.
Right.
Liar meetings. I try not to do it to hurt others, though. We do it to gather information.
Right.
I did surveillance from a trailer next door that was abandoned and got her. Now, the stepmom's dad wanted to come out and fight because I came out when the cops were there, and I said, she's right there. I basically pointed, and they went in and got her. And he wanted to come out and fight and stuff.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. It was a show.
He weighed about 380. If he'd got on top of me, it would have been rough.
Yeah, that was the whole problem, though. He wasn't breaking that plane.
I would have ran from him. And got him out of breath.
You wouldn't have had to run.
I'd have got him out of breath real bad, and then it wouldn't have taken about 10 steps to get out of breath.
Maybe 10 feet. He'd be done.
Fun. But yeah, that's urban tracking. It's way more. It can become more complex, or it can be easier depending on how cooperative people are to you. Juice had mentioned the other day we were discussing this topic and talking about getting into salesmanship. how you got to be able to go in to a place and say, look, we're looking for this person, and come across and build rapport with these folks to get some information. You're big on building rapport. Talk about that a little bit.
Sometimes it's pretty easy. I don't look like your normal used to be cop or private investigator, and sometimes people open up to me a lot easier just by walking in and going, "Hey, dude, how you doing?"
Right.
Oh, where'd you get your tattoo? And usually that's how I diffuse, like working with inmates and stuff. I'll stand there and stare at their tattoo, and then I get them to drop their guard a little bit. And once that happens, that's when the dialogue can start. You can actually have a good conversation with them and start pulling all that information, and then it's just free flowing at that point.
Right. So yeah, Juice has the goatee, the tattoos down to his knuckles.
Yes.
And bald head.
Yes.
And he wears the
Boston Scally.
Boston Scally. I almost called it something bad. But anyway, I am losing power here, Juice. Hold on one sec.
All right. You're losing power. That is not good.
Early on a Monday morning.
Yeah, that's not good.
I didn't have my cord plugged in, so.
Is your cord plugged in now?
It is. It's all plugged in. We're all plugged up, ready to go. I was on a battery, and it was saying, hey, you're running out of battery. But, yeah, so urban tracking has a lot to do with building rapport and asking questions. It has a lot to do with planning. Both of these you do 80% of we call it a case, but the tracking activity before you even step off with gathering information. The teenagers we've located in the past, we go into their point of origin as their bedroom.
Right.
A young girl or boy, that's their life as a teenager.
Yeah.
Right. And going through their garbage to get clues to where they might have gone. What they wore, we can go through, and either mom or dad say, hey, what did they wear? We get those that's how we get what they're looking like at the time. And then go from there and then start asking neighbors for camera footage if there's no footprints. But this girl did leave footprints to the woods.
Right.
And her mom was freaked out. Oh, she's going out here and killed herself. Legitimate concern, right?
Yeah. Especially now.
But we went all through those woods and didn't see any bodies because it was not a huge stretch of woods. But we did see footprints, and we said, oh, somebody picked her up here. So,
yeah.
And then we got some actual footage of it. And got a
people
car
don't realize there's a methodology, a strategy when you go in and start doing this. Mm-hmm. It's not like they see on the movie. Somebody just walks in, looks around like Monk. Yeah. Got it all figured out.
Yeah, Monk has like telekinesis or something.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a monk.
Great show, though.
Yeah, good show.
It's funny. Yeah, we planned it out. We used the old SMEAC formula. What does that stand for, Juice?
Situation, mission. Why are we going back to Marine Corps
Execution,
stuff?
Admin.
Yeah, why are we going back to the Marine Corps
communication?
Stuff now?
That's how I plan everything. That's how I plan everything. I go back, and the Army uses the same. The Army likes to change theirs every 2 or 3 years, depending on which general's in charge. They don't change what's the content; they just change the names of it.
Yeah, Marine Corps is always the same, though.
Yeah, the Army's changed theirs for admin logistics to sustainment and communication to command and control.
I don't know why you got to change it.
They'll change it back next year when a new general gets in charge. So that's how
Too much change.
Too much change.
Too much change.
You can't handle change, Juice?
Oh, I like change, but some things shouldn't be tampered with.
The content's the same if you get into the body of the thing. But I use that all the time in planning, and that's what we do when we're getting ready to do a Mantrack, is we plan it out before we even go. A lot of times people just want to jump in their car and start looking around. I'm like,
yeah, you can't.
You're going to burn a lot of gas and energy.
That's doing something like the Keystone Cops. And
Keystone
we're not
Cops.
doing it that way.
Right. But, all right, we're going to take a break. We're going to come back with more rural-type investigations. How about that?
Woo-woo.
All right, take a break. Hey, everybody, Macky here. I just want to get into what we actually do here at Macky Outlaw Private Investigators. So we conduct domestic investigations, which include your adultery and custody cases. You may have a cheating spouse that you're wanting to find out, or you may have shared custody and you're wanting to find out what the other parents are doing, maybe prove that they're not good parents for a custody modification. Also, what we do is criminal defense investigations. That's where people get in trouble and they need help proving their innocence. It could be either pre-conviction or post-conviction. So if you know people in those situations, just give us a ring. Also, we work missing person cases. That's where we track down people that are missing. It can be children, teenagers, all the way to senior adults. So if you have a case like that, how we work those cases is we use surveillance. We locate and find witnesses and interview them. Also conduct digital forensics where we extract deleted data, and locate those digital artifacts to help your case. If you need those types of investigations done, you can always click the link and contact us. You can call us directly at 866-910-7499. That's 866-910-7499. Or visit us on the web at mackyoutlaw.com. Thank y'all. All right, everybody, we're back with the second part of this thing. All right, talking about Mantracking. In the first part, we got into urban tracking and the challenges that can come with that. I think it's less challenging in urban because you actually got people to talk to. What do you think?
I agree.
All right. Now we get into rural where we're out here. It's just me and my friends, the squirrels and deer. It gets a little more challenging.
Yeah.
All right.
It gets way more challenging.
But people tend to leave more sign. When I say sign, I'm meaning trace evidence like footprints, broken twigs, campsites, using the bathroom, those kind of things. They tend to leave more because it's not getting flushed down the toilet or thrown in a garbage can. Right? Do you agree with that?
I totally agree.
Now, unless you're tracking a professional that does not want to be found, it's not as difficult as it's made out to be on TV. You ever notice that?
Yeah, it's crazy on TV. It's Hollywood, though.
You've done some tracking before, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about it. What's your experience?
Well, I can tell you when it starts raining and it washes away the signs,
right?
It becomes very aggravating.
It does. Rain aggravates me just in general.
Yes. I've had to climb trees.
To find stuff.
Oh, yeah.
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 You're looking for anything, all right?
Yeah, anything.
You go to that point of origin, and I looked it up in the break, and on the military side, I am correct.
Yes.
Now, in the civilian side, they call it last known seen point.
Point of origin's a lot better.
Doesn't make sense to me, last known seen point, because if they parked the car and took off walking, nobody might have not. Who's seen them?
Yeah, exactly.
But I get what they're saying, though. That's where you're going to have your best chance to get a direction to start looking. So
yeah, but I kind of like the KISS method.
KISS?
Yeah.
Keep it simple, stupid?
Exactly.
Or keep it simple, smarty pants?
Same difference.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what we're looking for in that point of origin is typically they get out of a car, they have footprints, and we're looking for tracks that shows us the direction they're going. We're going to tell if there's multiple people, a single person, if they're carrying a load, by how deep the footprints are. I'm not going to get here on a camera today talking about measuring footprints. All right.
Yeah, because there's a whole lot goes into that.
That's a better done in person or you recording and me describing it. It's even hard to do on a camera because you can't get the 3D effect that you want to get. But we did one here a couple years ago where a young girl wandered off in the woods. She was having an overdose and wandered off in the woods. And I was hired to go try to find her. Now, the county sheriff's department had been out looking for her. The interesting part of this thing, there was a cave out here where we thought she might have went into it. And
Is that the one up there in Fort Payne?
It's in Mentone.
Yeah.
It took a while for me to find this cave.
Right.
I had to do some land nav to get to it. We were talking about 4 miles out in the middle of nowhere up the side of a cliff face. So it was a bit of a challenge, but I did find it. And it's one of these caves. It's on private property. And the owner lives in like Texas or something. And they just had this land they bought for an investment property. And they had a grate over it with a lock. And I called the guy and said, hey, can I walk and look for this girl? He goes, oh, yeah. And I said, what about this key to this grate? And he goes, I don't know where the key is. But I went up there and found it. You could tell it had been tampered with. Nobody had tried to cut it or pull it off or anything like that. Now, to get this thing off, this cage, you had to hook a dually up to it and snatch it. That thing was welded on the mouth of this thing. They had like a metal ring put in the mouth of the cave with this grate over it. It was pretty good. But you could see down in there in the past where people had squatted in there and left their trash. But this girl was not in there. Now, I looked for this girl for 3 days in those woods looking for any type of sign. Now, I got this thing about 60 days afterwards, so how much sign do you think I'm going to find?
Very, very, very little.
I was looking for obvious sign, like where she maybe went to the restroom, left a shoe.
Something on a macro level, not a micro level.
Yeah, maybe we had a campsite. I did stumble up on a refrigerator. It was on the path that she was supposed to go. We thought there was some foul play here, too. And I was like, oh, Lord, they put her in a refrigerator and dumped her out here. Or killed her and put her in. So I cracked it open. It was nothing. There were some maggots in there with some old meat. That was nice.
Oh.
Smells good.
Extra protein.
No girl in there, though. I did the zigzag method looking for any trace where I would land. I would navigate to one area. This thing was bordered by farmland. So I'd navigate to one point on the other, one fence, turn around, offset about 10 degrees, and go back to the other end. I did this zigzag forever looking for anything. I didn't see nothing.
Right.
I didn't see nothing. Is that proper English, Juice?
Yeah, for here, yeah.
I didn't see anything. How about that? And come to find out, she was located about 6 months later in a whole other area, all right, than where I was looking. I did my diligence, right?
Right.
Right. I wouldn't say a whole other area, but a neighboring patch of woods that I kind of thought to look over there, but the client didn't want to pay for me to go over there. So,
right.
All right. They didn't want to pay another fee for me to do the same thing over there. I was like, okay, well, we know she's not here. All right. That area I was in was a ton of sinkholes.
Oh, yeah. Up there?
Yeah. And you can climb down in and climb as deep into the earth as you want. And I told the police department, the sheriff's department, I said, you might want to get a dog down in these holes and take a look. And I think they did.
Yeah.
They took some dogs out and took a look. And they found her at the other place with dogs. All right. Let's talk about dogs a little bit. Do you know anything about sniffer dogs?
Very little, but I have two friends of mine that run search and rescue dogs, and they fill me in quite a bit on stuff.
Right. I know the challenge with search and rescue dogs is you've got to have some smell, a strong enough scent for them to start with.
Right.
And then you get to that point of origin, you've got to have a strong enough scent for them to pick up on. All right.
Right.
If not, they're just going to stand there and look at you because they're like, I don't smell anything.
Right.
I've seen that happen before where there's not a strong enough scent. But people typically leave a scent and it can persist for quite a while. I don't know the exact numbers on it, but it can persist for some time. Now, these people that found her, the dogs that found her were specifically trained in cadaver looking for dead bodies.
Right.
And that's how they found her. But they got a tip, like, hey, she's in these woods over here, took the dogs out, and she was there and had been ravaged by wild animals, the body had. But they found her, and it was a sad situation, but it was determined based off of what I read, she did have an overdose and freak out and wander out in the woods and basically got lost.
Right.
All right. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah. Drugs are awful, especially where we live.
Yeah.
Fentanyl, meth, pills are...
Well, we're known as Meth Mountain.
Meth Mountain, baby. It's destroying lives around here, right?
Yeah, so, yeah.
Life's hard enough. Just don't throw in extra.
I just never understood it. I smoking weed, I understand that. But when you start getting into the chemicals that are used to clean your drains in your house and, make a spark.
Drugs that doctors use to make you unconscious for surgery. Yeah. We're just going to abuse that.
Yeah, so. I don't get it.
But, it's terrible. But this young lady had a history of drug problems. And I walked around out there. I didn't camp. All right. I went out there. I'd go till dark and then come back home. All right. Now, going at night, though, can have some benefits. You ever tried it at night? Yeah,
we did that. That female that got away from her mom and dad, we did a bunch of that at night. That's a pain.
It can help. Sometimes your sign, especially footprints on the ground or your sign on the ground, when you get a flashlight, it tends to come out at night.
Yeah.
And you can get directions and those kind of things. Now, moving from sign to sign can be challenging in rural areas too. So you're walking, you're following footprints, you're seeing where they broken limbs or pushed through brush, and all of a sudden it ends. All right. Maybe they change direction on you. Maybe they hit a body of water. Does that make it challenging?
Oh, yeah.
So if they do swim across a body of water, you've got to circumnavigate this body of water and pick up a sign on the other side or whatever side they started on. So you're going, if you got two people, you can typically cut your work in half by sending one direction and one the other direction, but you got to pick up on the other side. Same with dogs. The scent goes away with water. So the dogs you have to walk them around this body of water, whether it be a creek or a pond or a lake or whatever, and try to find them. That's one thing if it's just a small farm pond. What about Sylvania Lake?
That'd be kind of difficult.
What about Tennessee River?
Oh, kind of difficult.
It'd be difficult to swim Tennessee River.
Right.
I've swam way out there before, about halfway and back before, just goofing off. But the current,
just at a goof?
Yeah.
Yeah, not me.
But if you don't know what juice is, swims like a bowling ball.
Yeah. I swim like an iron duck.
An iron duck. And I'm the opposite. I swim pretty good.
Yeah.
But the current is ridiculous on Tennessee
Oh, you
River.
can see it just coming over the bridge.
Yeah, you gotta know what you're doing and aim for a specific point to land at a different point. So because it's
How
going to
about
wash
noise
in.
discipline at night? Have you found that? Well, I have tinnitus now, so I can barely hear, but my auditory picks up better at night because all that extra noise is all squashed.
That's good. All your hearing, everybody's like sight at night.
Oh yeah.
Yes. If you get away from the man-made lights and get out in the woods, true darkness, you can see.
Absolutely.
You can see good enough to engage targets with a weapon.
Absolutely.
I've done it before. Night vision helps, obviously, brings
Right.
things out. But you can see at night with your naked eye, and all your senses heighten when you turn the lights out. What do you think when little kids get the lights turned out? They freaks them out and it scares them because their senses go on high alert, right?
Right.
It's the same with out at night. When you're doing these searches in the woods, you got to do. It's almost like a patrol. So we're gonna walk. We're gonna follow a sign. Then we're gonna stop and listen. We're gonna follow a sign. We're gonna stop and listen because they may make noise that can help us pick up a location. Noise and visual cues are the quickest things. That's the visual cues are shine, shape, and contrast with the background. Okay, if they're wearing an orange shirt, obviously we're going to be able to see that better than we would if they're wearing a dark gray or black or green. Or
plus, they're not going to have any noise discipline if they're trying to get away anywhere.
Right.
They don't care about the noise they're making.
They might try, but they're not trained in it.
Right.
So they're going to have clanking noises and breaking limbs and all these things, and shouting out when they twist their ankle. They might shout, say a cuss word here and there.
It happens.
Right. But they're not thinking about that. So we're going to follow sign. The good rule of thumb is about, some people say 50 feet, stop and listen. I'm like, depends on where we are. In the brush here in North Alabama, 50 feet's a long way.
Yeah, it is.
It's busting brush here will wear you out because it's
Absolutely
thick in the summer.
it will.
Now, right now, we're in the spring, just coming out of wintertime, so it's not that bad. But
I couldn't even walk through my backyard up here.
Yeah,
I had to go get it mowed down because it was so thick.
The undergrowth is crazy.
Yeah.
Briars.
You should
little
do
trees.
a class on this stuff.
What, Mantracking?
Yes.
You know, come to think of it, Juice, I think we're going to.
I think that'd be a great idea.
So I am doing the orienteering land nav course.
Right.
And we should do a Mantracking course as well. And Juice would be my trusty assistant.
And in urban and suburban environment.
So I always thought of doing one where we start urban, where we got to use computing, interview skills,
Yeah.
and all the tools for urban, and then move into a rural and keep a central hub that can also, because people take their phones in the woods now, right?
Yeah.
If you got cell service, they may be posting on internet, posting on Facebook, posting on TikTok.
Bring our ranger beads,
Ranger beads.
pace counters.
I used to have, I probably got some around.
I've got some somewhere.
They're hanging on something,
Yeah.
I guarantee you. But yeah, we get into, when you get into Mantracking, you have to get into land nav, which that's kind of the course I'm starting out with.
Right.
And pace count is part of it. So I've seen it before where the trackers get lost. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
And they have to find out where they are.
Yeah.
And then they start back again. It just loses time is what it is. So
Yeah.
all right, yeah, we got a course coming up, and I'm going to end it here for this session of the Hidden Threads podcast. What do you got, Juice?
It breaks me up every time we come to an end.
Really? Well, the good thing is we get to record some more this week.
Oh, that's good then. Now I'm happy again.
This is kind of our morning coffee, y'all. We just sit around and talk and record podcasts.
Well, I'm not having coffee today. I got tea today.
Tea?
Yeah.
No black coffee, huh?
Not today.
So, all right. All right, that's it, y'all. We'll be back soon. Say bye, Juice.
Bye, Juice.